Hey, you all, it has been a minute. And that's because I've been really busy with work, the store. Um, we're going to have another session of 201 this month, so working on reviewing those formulations. But, so one of the things I was talking about today, I was talking about earlier, was the fact that. People say that people are not effective healers or magical people if they have afflictions themselves. And that really burns me up because I know lots of people with lots of different illnesses, be them physical or mental, hell, environmental, that are very, very insightful people that have learned how to listen to spirit and have learned how to guide their lives through spirit. So that's the thing. We've got a lot of buzzwords in magic. We talk about shadow work, we talk about light work, but magic is really supposed to be the great equalizer. And the magical philosophy that I have run across as I read, magic is about balance. If you look at it from an elemental level, the balance, because we all know what happens when the earth is out of balance, out of kilter. You will have things like natural disasters occur. Natural disasters. And so I think that a lot of people don't look to their own natural disasters. And one of the things that I found is in my latest divinations is that people are not looking at the choices that they make that put them in the situations that they're in, whether they're good or bad. For some reason, we're just programmed to follow the script, just go along and do whatever. It causes us to be going on dates we shouldn't have. There are too many dates I can count where I'm sitting in the date at that very moment of the date knowing you knew good and well when bruh asked you out to dinner that this was not going to go well. But you were like, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a minute. And so, sorry, my nose is itching. So, I tell people, well, let's think about that. When people talk about shadow work, they make it sound so deep and inaccessible, or some shit that's gonna have you like groveling, like Danny Glover crying and raising in the sun. If you've never seen that scene, check it out on YouTube. Somebody posted here when he finds out he loses all the money. I mean, the original one was compelling, but Danny Glover really clowned in that scene. And so the thing is that often before we get to that point is where we miss. I was telling everybody, I was like, the biggest thing about really for me personally, and from what I can ascertain from the things that I read and the people that I study, especially the ones who are most effective in magical workings, is that, from the very beginning, you've training yourself more and more every day to pay attention to signs. That's one of the first things I told my kids. I'm like, you cannot call yourself a witch if you're not incredibly cognizant of what's going on around you. Like they say, read the room. Some people just don't have a talent for reading the room. But, those certain things can be acquired by study and practice, because that's what they do call this, a practice. And what's happening is so often, due to different traumas that we might have experienced or treatment as a child, the way we were raised, we were often taught to ignore our own spirit. We were often taught to ignore our own voice. If you think about that, you think about in school, you had rules. What your voice had to say about that didn't matter. And you don't get a real voice, really, honestly, until usually maybe university, unless you go to an exceptional school. It's basically regurgitating information. So, and then parents, especially parents who were strict or even abusive, never listened to your spirit, because you tried to tell them and they would either tell you that you were wrong or you were disrespectful, and then you'd end up being right. And I've had that happen in my personal life. I've had that happen in my corporate life, where, you realize to the extent of how people are responding to your intuition. And so that's one of the reasons why I tell people to keep their magic to themselves and certain thoughts to themselves, like things that really matter to you, because really, we don't want people's spiritual input on those matters. What we want the ability to do, especially if we want to be spiritualists, if we want to be a witch or a magician or a priest or a priestess or a sorcerer, whatever it is, we have to, if we're working within those metaphysical constructs, our first connection is with our spirit. My friend Emmy, my sister Emmy, she calls it your oversoul. The church even called it the Holy Spirit. But whatever that is, it's the God in you. It's that first mind. Even my daughter's Baptist grandmother, who is in her mid-80s, and she's still with us, she would tell you to trust your first mind. And I know I spoke on this before, but one of the things is that people think that even doing that and always following your instincts, human beings are prone to fallacy, and sometimes you can be incorrect. But I really want you to just personally survey yourself. And if you're unlike this, let me know. But I know that each and every single one, present company included, can go back to a time where our spirit told us to do something and we didn't do it, and we paid for that. There are consequences. Just like science, what comes up must go down. Everything goes around and around. When you do certain things, you set certain energies into motion, they will, it's a secular, thing. It's going to come back. Okay? And so very few of us can sit up and say, oh, I trusted my first mind and I still got fucked up. Yeah, it happens, but rarely. When you are making real close spiritual connections, because I can tell you, like I told you all before in videos right after I left my voodoo house, that literally I had to go through an injury to lay the fuck down, where spirit just basically had me literally crucified on the bed. That's how much fucking pain I was in. When they were like sat on my in pain ass, because I have the unfortunate habit of being visited in my sleep by a lot of spirits. But fortunate or unfortunate, fortunate because it's one of the things that led me to witchcraft. But the reality of the matter is, I still, I'm not running around here, oh, no, roho, renge kale, doing I live my life. People, it's so funny because it's kind of like the old girl in Bewitched. She looked real normal to a certain extent, although there's some things like having license plates that say conjure and owning an occult store that kind of make me a little bit more seen. But when I get up in the morning, I get up and I try, first thing, to thank the Creator and the ancestors for getting me up and helping me to fulfill my purpose for the day. And then I ask them, can you give me some information, or, let me see some shit coming if I need to, can you do the Wonder Woman for me? I promise I'll always remember you. I promise I'll always take care of you. I was in the shower and I was thinking about the relationship with our spirits. And what I love about voodoo is we are servitors. We serve the spirits and they serve us back. A lot of religions, especially the Abrahamic ones, base your success and salvation on, whether you believe or not. But the thing is, when it comes to our path, you can go right ahead. Put down your loa, get rid of your altars. Don't venerate your ancestors. Don't talk to them. And they will leave your ass right out here to fend for yourself. They ain't got to do nothing to you. You've already done it to yourself. Because honestly, without spiritual direction, we fuck a lot of things up. And that is evidenced in the fact that we can acknowledge, we don't practice magic for the hell of it, for the fun of it. We can acknowledge the points in which we listen to spirit. And you all got to realize this. The most important thing that I can possibly stress about what I'm trying to talk about tonight is we learned to listen to ourselves. And, it's really hard to grow up in a world that tells you that you are less for whatever reason, because of your gender, because of your race, because of how much money you have, the clothes on your back. It's real hard to hold on to self-esteem. In fact, most of us have to build it. And honestly, the best way to building self-esteem is to build your passions. Whatever it is that you want to do with your life, put it on how you are led at that time for your purpose. And if you feel like you need to do a divination, get a divination to get some clarity on it, there's nothing wrong with that. But I strive to get to the place that inherently, without a tool, without a candle, without anything, that I can go to the spirits that I serve and get answers. It does not, magic, people make it really complicated. And we got to think back to the times where we didn't have a lot of the stuff that we have today. And the times when we were discovering the herbs and roots that can not only serve as medicine, but also serve as magic. And so it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Of course, if you're an A-type personality like myself, you like to do the most, and you admire the most. But sometimes A's get real tired. I find myself moving towards B as I get older. But the thing is that through ritual is not only just a matter of showing respect and honoring. And I don't care what those rituals are. I'm not talking about sacrificing animals and anything else that would be part of, say, a closed tradition. I'm talking about the rituals that we have with our spirit, with ourselves every day. And so my hope for myself and a lot of people, for everybody, is that we learn how to listen to ourselves, listen to our spirits. And then if we feel some kind of way about what we're spiritually receiving, that's okay. Because what's going to happen is the more and more and more you lean on that spiritual advice, the more and more you're going to see how effective it is in your life. And people could say, oh, it's just a psych game, it worked out how it did, and it didn't have anything to do with, what spirit told you, whatever like that. But that's okay if that's the way you feel. But I know that what we are doing, and I don't care what religion or whatever spirituality you have, is that we are energy exchanging with forces that can help shift energy, because that's all it is. And so like me, I just asked them, keep shifting for me. And they have not failed me. And nor do I expect them to. There's going to be a lot of things that maybe I think, and that's another things that I think that we were talking about growing up. I was speaking to someone, thank you. She made Rice Krispie treats, but I'll wait to eat this afterwards. But no, I'm going to cut this short now because I got a Rice Krispie treat. But anyways, back to my point, I didn't get this fat looking at food. Back to my point. I try to tell people who are getting readings and divinations and things like that, and they're on the right track and they're really moving in positive directions, that it is crucially important for them to get and learn a divination tool, because it helps to build confidence and it helps you to understand what's a spiritual message and what's not. But in the end, you have to be a conduit when you're doing a reading for someone. So, everybody wants to talk about shadow work and light work, but the reality is for me personally, and one would hope to see the rest of the magical community move towards in this age of Aquarius, is balance. I think that a lot of us come from religions and cultures that try to invalidate how we feel about things, telling us not to be angry, telling us not to seek revenge against being wronged, telling us turn the other cheek, telling us it's okay to be walked on. It's okay to be put on a cross and literally quite crucified. But when you change and you become part of different faiths, that those things are no longer a requirement, you're going to start to look at your life and your spirit in different ways. None of us were put here to struggle. That's why I don't do relationship readings anymore. Because often, most often, it's the struggle we choose. Unless that person was trafficked into that relationship with that person, it was a struggle. Yeah, now, later on, you might find yourself in a situation that you fear your life if you try to get out of. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm talking about right back at the very beginning when you made that first move. You would understand the choice. Sadly, people think that they can't change their minds. Sadly, people don't think that it's a good option to go with their mind in the first place. And what I can say is, I always go with my mind, what my mind tells me to do. And I'm surprised that as I've gotten older, it's not actually gotten more crazy, it's gotten more considerate. But at the same point is, if it's something serious and if it's something that is baneful that I might have to do, I most certainly divine on it, ask my ancestors, and sit on it. And then usually the answer is no, no. And through that sitting, waiting, and trusting, I built something in me. And often it was a mundane way to handle magical people issues. And so that works. And so I encourage you, the thing is if we all strive for balance and we see it is what it is, you see what the good and the bad and everything, then you're balanced. You understand, you perceive, and you make better choices, hopefully, as a result. Now, there are some people that learn better, know better, will tell you they know better, and still turn around and do the same thing all over again, just it had a different name. Those people might benefit from some type of therapy, but for the most part, I honestly believe that all of us, especially ones of us who are very much concerned with our spirituality, we're concerned about this life, we're concerned about the next life, we're concerned about past lives, us witches. We are concerned about our time here. We are concerned in if, I have not read a single religious story or theology, and some people call it mythology. I don't like to use that term, but a single theology that doesn't tell you that how you live this life is in preparation for your next. I don't care if you're Christian, pagan, whatever. There is a next. And often that is dependent on how you live this life. In fact, that's what karma really is. Most people don't get karma in this life. It affects their next. Okay? So one of the things that I realized is that I don't want to be an ain't shit ancestor. You know what I'm saying? Ain't shit people make ain't shit ancestors. Some of them elevate after death. Some of them you actually have to work with to help bring them up, give them the opportunities to do the right things. That's how some people who have issues with their parents or grandparents, when they pass, they find resolution after death through their work with them. But that's a little rare. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to try to get it right from the other side. So let me see how I can best grow so that it's just like preparing for any other promotion. Honestly, you're going to another realm. All the different religions teach that there's this other place or other places. And some of them include also here on walking the earth. I don't know if I want to do this one again. I mean, it's been great. I've made it great. But man, if there's something better out there, I really want to kind of get to that. And so what better way than to interview and to intern for that than to talk to them. They got on the job training, They've literally said to me, look, I did not know this when I was on earth. And I need you to know this now. And that was like one of the most profound messages that I ever got from ancestors. Okay? That those are really the ones that stick, the things that said, look, I may have done that when I was here, but it's different, and you need to know the difference. And so that you become a better mother, wife, child to people around you, person to people around you. You become better. But that does involve really, and it's really hard. How are you going to talk to your ancestors if you don't talk to yourself? And how are you going to listen to your ancestors if you don't listen to yourself? Some people say they can't be trusted with themselves, and sometimes that very well may be true, and that is when definitely a therapist or a spiritual diviner can come in, and a life coach or something to kind of help you turn that around. But if you are capable of listening to yourself, and you gotta like yourself, that's what they call that shadow work, learning to like the things about yourself, or accept the things about yourself, or change the things about yourself that make you undesirable. And I'm finding the older I get, I ain't changing too much. So the things that make me undesirable, well, how do I present them? Maybe those things that make me undesirable shouldn't be shared with the world. I can share them with myself. And so, but we are also in this age of over telling everything to everybody. So, if I had a piece of advice when you're really trying to do self-work and you're really trying to get a grip on what this whole spiritual experience is like, it's like the more and more you read and study, especially history and this was stuff like that, and the way human beings have actually treated each other, the more you will find yourself wanting to be in harmony, in balance, and just here, present. You're not autopiloting and trying to avoid what's going on around you, but at the same time, you ain't so damn attached that it's wrecking your soul. And there's a fine line with that. So, but definitely one of the things I know, even if like sometimes the places where I listen to myself were limited, like, hey, I'll listen to myself at home. I may not listen to myself at the office. I may not have all the pictures and stuff I want to have up at the office, but I got them here at home. And so, but where I'm willing to compartmentalize that has gotten smaller and smaller over the years. Maybe that's because I know how to act. So a lot of the stuff that would cause me to do some self-reflection in the past, I would not do as an older woman. So that's that too. A lot of us you have to learn things. And for most human beings, it's learning the hard way for some reason. And, my daughter, my youngest child, made the very valid point. She said, sometimes you've got to learn the hard way, or else how are you going to learn how to do it? And I was like, man, but you still could have somebody show you. Sometimes it's not the same. But, if you must learn something the hard way, do it because you listen to yourself and not anybody else. I can honestly say that I don't make, or haven't for at least the past decade, make decisions that I am not good with for myself. I don't have to do that. Spirit is made so I can stand in my own truth and still be employable and still, be able to live in the manner that I have grown accustomed to. So you have to figure out where you have to cut some of those things out. But, being light all the time might get you fucked up too. Being nice, always having suggestions. And, I was just talking to my niece about being a team player on teams where people won't do the work. Well, you do what's necessary for you to do your best. And they're going to have to worry about themselves. Make it abundantly clear. Group projects, as an educator, I say, should always have specifications so you can tell who's doing what work, so that you know how to grade them. And that's where a lot of group assignments fail. But this particular assignment that we're talking about tonight is one that is very much individual. And I think that if we become, and I think a lot of us just learned the hard way through that last year we've experienced. So now we're moving into this different astrological period of enlightenment that we have to figure out where to start. And that really starts here, and it starts here. And so if someone has convinced you not to trust yourself, then start evaluating why. Sometimes that, like I said, will require deep dive spiritually and mentally, going to a therapist. However, a lot of people can sit down with themselves and do this. And that's the first thing that you've got to do. And understand you don't have to state these for the entire social media world to see, but your weaknesses, your non-negotiables, your dreams, your goals. You'll find that balance in all of that if you really take time to examine it. Some people will do it on paper in a journal. Other people, they'll, live it or make it a bullet. Those bullet journals became really popular. I don't like bullets and all of that checklist, although I maintain a lot of them in my life. But I'm wondering if I would fare better writing a narrative of my day. But then it would take hours to write the narrative, right? So then the day is over. But in any case, I don't write journal a lot. I mind journal. I have like all these voice recordings on my phone, and that's why I got that remarkable tablet thing, so I can write down things I think about in the middle of the night, and then I'd be too damn tired and be like, I'm going to remember it. And then, no, I didn't remember it. So, but whatever way that you want to record these things down, because if you pay attention, you will get messages. Every single person that's sitting here watching me talk right now has had a time in their life, and you can hit the heart button. If you've had a time, at least one time in your life, where Spirit told you something and it was absolutely true. And if you haven't had that happen to you, then you ain't been talking to Spirit enough. Because I have seriously not seen them fail. And it surprises me. Don't think that it doesn't, be like this old crone. I am surprised every damn time. I'll be like, wait a minute. You did that. Sometimes before I can even step away from the altar, the problem is solved. Ain't no burning of fires, banging of pots, waving of wands. It's just that I done went and talked to my people. And my people was like, all right, okay, cool. And then don't let me go up there crying and real upset, because they'll do anything to get rid of me at that point, because I got this real ugly cry. They'd be like, okay, just don't, just stop. Just take care of it. And I don't ever walk away from my ancestor altar discouraged. And that is a decade away from when I first stood in front of my ancestor altar and felt like a goddamn fool because I'm standing there talking to pictures of dead people. It's eons away from that. So, I just felt inspired to come and share that little bit with you all. I hope that you all have been staying healthy and blessed. My damn arm still hurts from that shot, and I'm praying I don't grow a third tit, But, I'm just trying to keep living right now on this plane. I love humanity. I don't like people.
Then you don't like humanity?
Oh, I love them like I love me, but I don't like the shit people do. Shit, sometimes I don't like the stuff I do. And that's the thing. Really start to understand that. Start to understand, what are some of the things that I do that I just don't like? I don't like about myself. That's some real shadow work. Fuck what everybody else got to say about you. But the things that you don't like about yourself, start there. Like, you know, they used to always tell us, try Jesus, right? try.
There's a song that my dad likes to play.
Try Jesus, don't try me, right? But they'll tell you, try Jesus, try the ancestors, try whatever deity of the week that you're calling on, whatever, okay? But give it a shot. Follow your first mind. Follow, you know, where you need to be. Because that's not going to come from anybody else. That's not going to come from any ritual. It's not going to come from any book. I was just remarking on the fact that I have never, ever used, outside of traditional ritual for voodoo, I have never, ever like gone to somebody's book, taken a spell word for word, and used it for anything. Usually it's because the spells was too damn dry or whatever, or just didn't apply, or there's some shit I just, no, I literally, I was in an old grimoire and had to go and call a friend to be like, is this what the fuck I think? I said, wait a minute, wait. And then also looking at things like the Keys of Solomon, finding out that some of that stuff, the demon work and all that had been removed from the works that I'm looking at. And it's just like, did they do that for real? Make sure you're not doing that with your own life. You know, it's like, you know, there are certain spirits. I love reading about the different spirits, and some of them are known to be incredibly powerful, but there'll be something about that spirit that doesn't resonate with my soul. And I'll be like, oh, well, because, you know, this grimoire I was reading is a Christian grimoire too. I'm like, did they really? Is this what, for real? Okay, well, we're not going to read that out loud. We're just going to read that for reference and keep it on moving. And then other times I'll be like, did they? Oh, okay, yes. But it definitely, my spell work, my petitions, the things that I do for myself, because I don't do a lot of work for people other than candle visuals. I write for myself because it's for myself. And so that's why it's really my goal to make sure that we learn how to do these things for ourselves. Whether you can afford classes, whether you can get books, whether you can just sit down and listen to the ancestors, because all that other stuff came later. Where I developed from was, for the first time in my life, being willing to listen to myself, what I've always known to be true about myself, which is different spiritual abilities, as well as to listen. Yes, it's shower night. Don't forget. Make sure you wash your booty. Kids. Okay, I will get you up extra early. When you don't leave the house, right? Oh my, you got a shower. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about kids. I asked them that last night about kids and bedtime and showers. I'm like, what is it that you have against sleep? Because you sure love it when it's time to get up in the morning. And you know what is it? You don't, I have to beg you to go get in the shower, and then I can't get you out. I go take my shower, ain't no hot water left. Parenthood. And we ask for this. Think about the things in our life that we ask for, but we realize we didn't quite sign up for that, which is another reason why I write my own spells, because I want them to be super specific about what I need. And, you know, super specific about the caveats, you know, because I now put into my work things like, if this is good for me, if this will bless me, or if this will bless the person that I am petitioning for, let it be the will of the universe. I believe that, you know, the Creator is busy. I believe that our spirits are emissaries for the shifting of the energies and making change. And we call them by different names, but that is exactly what they're here for. You know, some people be like, I venerate my ancestors when I do these magical sessions with people who want to begin to practice magic, or people who are getting divinations, and they'll be like, oh, I have an ancestor altar, but I don't ask them for anything. And I'm like, what you mean?
Come downstairs.
I mean, it does not necessarily you got to be pimping them like I need $20. You know, that friend that only calls you when they want $20. No, but you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for wisdom. There's nothing wrong with asking for patience. There's nothing wrong with asking for grace. There's nothing wrong with asking for courage. There is even nothing wrong with asking for righteous indignation and anger. And why are we not doing that? Okay, I know they're like they're like we ain't going nowhere. But you know, with little kids, I've always been an every other day type of person. But when you get older and you know you start going through adolescence, and that's at the age where my nieces are, you know, we have to be like, you know, we get a little funkier. Let me tell you something. You look beautiful. Yes, you take care of your skin.
But I have like 7 pimples.
Oh, your pimples? Your pimples now? Well, you know what? We have to look at your face regimen too as well. Because we ain't known for acne, so we have to figure that out.
Thank you. That's all.
Your mama knows what to do. Anyways,
I've had 2 pimples.
I'm talking to the peoples.
I know, but still.
Okay. I want you to go to bed. This girl will do everything not to go to bed. I don't know why she does not love sleep. But you know, like I said, the children in my family are my hearts. They are what I really want to pump into them. And another thing is we all go about this whole self-discovery of actually listening to ourselves and not letting other people dictate what's really for us, is that we show them that at a young age. Then maybe they will progress further than us, because that's the goal, right? For your children and your children's children to do better than you do. And, you know, finances are one thing, but man, if they don't go nowhere spiritually, we got a problem. So, you know, by listening to them, talking to them, honoring their spirit, getting them, they'll listen to you better if you listen to them. That is one thing I found out, that they will listen to you better if you listen to them. So I want you all to have a good night. Learn how to listen to yourselves. Learn how to trust your spirit. Because, you know, we live in a world where we really don't really know people that well. We think we know them. But a lot of us are not real deep readers. So they will read the things that they write on Facebook and either just consider them entertaining, when sometimes, or tragic or whatever, there are layers to the things that they're saying. You can, especially if you're a psychic, you can actually peep where all that's coming from. Most of the time, it's not coming from a place of self-worth, esteem, and confidence. And so those are the things we have to look at. You know, we need to work to our strengths. Find out the things that we do well. Find out the things that we have passion for, because then we will be less likely to have someone tell us that we cannot accomplish it, because we can. I hope you guys will have a good night, and maybe I'll get the chance to holler at you, but I don't think I'll be back live very soon because we got a lot of work to do. Take care. Bye-bye.